Welcome to Sound Bites, hosted by registered dietitian nutritionist Melissa Joy Dobbins.
Hello, and welcome back to the Sound Bites podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Joy Dobbins, a registered dietitian nutritionist. And on my show, we delve into the science, the psychology, and the strategies behind good food and nutrition. And today's episode is going to be a lot about the strategies because we are talking about getting men in the kitchen and cooking for men and everything that goes along with that. I'm so excited to introduce you to my guest, Manuel Villacorta. He is not only a dietitian and a really good friend of mine, but an internationally recognized award-winning registered dietitian nutritionist with more than 18 years of experience. He's the author of 5 books. His latest is the Essential Cookbook for Men, 85 healthy recipes to get started in the kitchen. Welcome to the show, Manuel.
Thank you, Melissa, for having me again. I love your show.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was thinking this was your third visit on the show.
Yes.
But it's your second because the first time I interviewed you was before the podcast. It was when I was interviewing people for my blog, and we talked about your first book, which I gushed over and still do, Eating Free. But now you're on your 5th book. So tell us about the names of all your books, and we're going to jump into a little bit about your background and the work you're doing, and of course, this awesome new book.
So, yes, my first book, which was a tremendous fight to get published. I got 40 rejections, but I never stopped. That first book is the foundation of my philosophy in nutrition. It's called Eating Free. That book was, in reality, a book that I put together after I helped thousands lose weight, and I start seeing results with first thing first, build a good relationship with food. So Eating Free, in a sense, is helping people free themselves from food jail. And
food jail.
no guilt. And potatoes are not a problem. Rice is not a problem. It's behaviors and portion sizes and all these sort of escape tactics that other diets promote, and bursting a lot of myths. So that's what Eating Free is all about. Then the second book, Peruvian Power Foods, it's not a weight loss book. I see it like a nutrition encyclopedia on superfoods.
And because you're from Peru.
I am Peruvian. And that's when I started to itch about writing a cookbook. And I said, maybe I can write a book on Peruvian food. But, as a dietitian, I wanted to include health. And as I was working in the supermarkets, I started noticing some of these foods. And then, boom, I had an idea. What about writing a book on Peruvian superfoods, nutrition, health benefits, etc.? I went back to Peru to do some research, to talk to the locals, sort of bring stories in the book, because when I started to write the book, it was kind of boring. So I needed to bring stories and find anecdotes. And so I went back to Peru, went to the Andes, the jungle, and got lots of stories. Funny thing is, or the interesting thing was that what the locals, the reason why people were using, say, maca, was the same reason the research was showing us here. So the stories were matching the science, which I found phenomenal. But Peruvian Power Foods came out, and then within 3 months, the publishing house is calling me, your book is doing really well, but next year you need to come up with a diet. So the Peruvian Superfoods diet, which is whole body reboot, that was my 3rd book.
Right.
And the book is not just about eating Peruvian superfoods. It's just sort of helping people increase their food repertoire. What else can you eat aside from broccoli? So they are aware of these other superfoods. So Peruvian Superfoods is a diet book. It's a weight loss, not a diet book. It's a weight loss book. It's balanced. I don't restrict any food groups. but including some Peruvian superfoods in traditional American recipes. Like, let's make waffles. What about sweet potato waffles? Let's make your smoothie in the morning. Let's add some maca. Instead of French fries, yuca fries. I don't know. I didn't want to create something completely new. Let's incorporate these superfoods in your regular cooking and your regular recipes that you're already doing.
Right. Well, now would be a good time for you to share your philosophy on diet versus lifestyle, because I know you mentioned a little bit earlier about, guilt-free and the whole eating-free concept, but explain that to us because I think that's really key.
Well, there's no way out of weight loss. You have to eat less calories, period. That's just bottom line. So definitely people need to eat less calories. And again, there's no way out of that. However, what I like to do is within these calories that you need to eat to lose weight, I like to incorporate all food groups and also include the indulgent foods as well. So all my books have desserts,
You love dessert.
I love, yeah, that's yes. and also not only they have desserts, but I've learned with the years of experience. I mean, in my private practice, I'm not only doing the research and writing books, I actually live these every day in my practice with my clients. So I learned that people like structure and guidelines. They tell me, how should I do these? Should I eat cookies? So instead of like saying yes, I help them create food policies with themselves that they can live with. I have my own, but I help them have their own. Like, Sure, you want to lose weight, you can have wine every day, but maybe have it when you're out with friends. That's a policy right there. You create sort of like rules, I guess. And that's my approach, and it seems to work very nicely. Give people a little bit of guidelines so they can go by.
Right. And as you're saying, and we talked a lot about this with the first blog interview I did with you with the Eating Free book, and you've kind of said it, but I really want to emphasize the years and the numbers of real people that you've worked with, and you've seen what resonates, what sticks, what is successful. And that's what made you, really, your eating free philosophy being that foundation, say, I've got to share this with the rest of the world. And that's where that book came along. And so, this isn't just, this is what you've seen when the rubber hits the road.
And the funny thing is that I started to talk about, without even knowing, intuitive eating, the no diet approach. Before, it was kind of like, right now it's in the talks of many dietitians. I started that way before that, naturally, organically, without even thinking about it.
About people having a good relationship with food.
I was very disturbed with the idea that I need to teach adults the way I was taught when I was a child how to eat.
So let's talk about that, because that transitions into the cookbook for men, because in the introduction you talk about moving to the United States and that experience that you had and missing your mom's cooking. So tell us a little bit about how it was growing up in Peru and your relationship with food, and then what happened when you moved to the US.
Well, the first thing was, as a society in the United States, and this is something I really tell everyone, and most of my clients, when they come and talk to me, they don't have eating. I mean, eating time is just not a priority. Cooking and shopping, and it's like, it's not in their list, not even in their radar. I'm like, what? I need to shop. What? I need to cook.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Or even eating. I mean, this is just a funny thing. I mean, how can you be in any program if you're not eating? If you're not eating, you're going to be a mess. I mean, scientifically speaking, we have hunger hormones that drive you to eat. So that was probably one of the first things. I was like, God, this is a mess. Like in my country or any other country, as a whole country, they shut down to eat.
They make time for it. It's a priority.
And it's not a 10-minute ordeal. It's half hour, some countries 3 hours, siesta even. I don't think nowadays they do that in Peru either, but it's more modernized. But it's still, they take time to eat, And anyhow, to me, I don't see cooking or shopping as a chore. And I know time, everybody complains time. Nobody has time, nobody has time. And I get it. But I think if you create a habit with this, you will make time. I mean, it's like how many times you exercise, how many times. So I started helping people manage their schedule in a sense. Like, okay, you're exercising every day for 2 hours. Now let's cut that by half. You don't need that much. Now I just gave you 3 hours to do things with food.
Grocery shopping and cooking.
Thank you.
I bet they were thrilled.
Well, I had this guy in my office one day. It's like, okay, I haven't gone shopping this. It's like telling me this in my office this Monday. I haven't gone shopping this weekend, but I'm going to find time to go this week and get back on plan. And I'm going to go to the gym after your session. I'm like, no, you're going to go to the supermarket after my session.
That's your quote unquote exercise.
He's like, really? Yes. So skip the gym. And I'm not saying not to exercise, of course.
Right.
But, 80%, I would say 80% is what you eat, no matter what your goal is.
For weight management and...
Weight management, health, anything. I mean, if you don't have the right food in your house, forget it.
You're behind the 8 ball.
Exactly.
So tell us about what happened when you moved to the United States. I mean, you kind of talked about, it's a very different culture, but tell us about your mom's cooking and...
Yes. I mean, now I can see back and say cooking changed my life because I was actually pre-med in Berkeley. I always wanted to become a doctor. I mean, since a little kid, moved to the States to go to school. And that still was the plan, to become a doctor. Finished pre-med in Berkeley. I even took the damn MCAT.
Wow.
That's a long test.
Yeah.
Yes, I took the MCAT. Did well, didn't so well in English comprehension, obviously. This is now years ago. But I had good grades in Berkeley, and I had everything lined up to probably get into a medical school. But I was really loving cooking and being in the kitchen and discover food and nutrition. And I was fascinated with that. Really what also triggered this, my father came to visit that one time. This is 1992, 1993 now. And I was very proud to serve him a dish that I made. And he was like, oh my God, this is so good. Then jokingly, he says, son, you should become a chef. You're going to wear white anyway. That stuck in my mind. And, as a Latino, the culture is very pressure. You become a doctor for the family, So I didn't want to disappoint them. So this is why also I wanted to become a doctor, I believe. But him telling me that kind of stuck in my brain. And unfortunately, he died the year after that. And that sort of gave me permission to quit medical path. But then what can I do instead? So then this is when I married the kitchen and health and decided to become a nutritionist. Little that I know that I had to become a registered dietitian. So here I am taking classes again.
Well, the science, you should have had that down. After
I got all the anatomy, biology, chemistry, thank God. But I still had a lot of other classes as a dietitian to take.
Right.
The clinical the clinical nutrition, the community, you name it.
Food service, all of that.
People
don't realize the extent of our education.
Wearing the hairnet was not my favorite thing.
Or the beard net.
Oh my gosh. I then did the MSRD, the Master's Registered Dietitian route. So I killed two birds in one stone right there. Boom.
Right.
And finish, and the rest is history.
Yeah. And then after Whole Body Reboot, you had another book a couple years ago, Flat Belly 365, a gut-friendly superfoods plan.
Yeah.
And now your new book, The Essential Cookbook for Men.
Yes.
I got to tell you, we're going to talk all about it. It's gorgeous. I love it. And I jotted down maybe 15 or 20 recipes that was making my mouth water. And I had to just stop because I was getting too hungry. But we're going to talk about all of that. But tell us, this seems like a long time coming for a male registered dietitian who loves to cook. Tell us how this came about and your thoughts on that journey.
Well, I've been wanting to write a cookbook for the longest time. The last publishing house I was working with didn't want me to write a cookbook, not because I didn't know what to cook. Obviously, all my books have recipes.
Mm-hmm.
But they were telling me I'm a registered dietitian. They want to utilize me to create meal plans and weight loss books because I wasn't a chef. But I am a self-taught cook. So nowadays, I think there's a word culinary dietitian. So I consider myself a culinary dietitian. To respect chefs, I don't like to call me a chef. Like I don't like people call themselves nutritionists because they didn't go to school for that.
Right.
I respect that.
Right.
And people say you should be called a chef. No, I didn't go to school to become a chef. So I like to be called culinary dietitian and self-taught cook. And yes, I know how to cook well. And in my practice, I talk a lot about cooking with my clients because if you don't, then it's going to be more difficult for you to control what you eat. Control, I'm talking more in a positive way here. I'm talking about controlling your ingredients, controlling your portions, that sort of thing. So make sure I said that.
No, I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah. Again, this is something I've been wanting to do. Men is a group that also, they don't really, most of the diet books and weight loss, all my books, by the way, have plans for men.
Okay.
But it's not something that a lot of people don't talk about, men's health and weight loss for men, or even let alone men cooking. So
yeah, most of the men's cooking things I've seen have been either like grilling or just real like decadent stuff that's,
exactly
stick to your ribs, whatever. Not that we're going to talk about your specific recipes.
Very sexist cookbooks too.
Right, like stereotypical.
Oh yeah, very stereotypical. And this publishing house that I work with did a research and come out with some interesting results. And men didn't want another cookbook that tells them to put a piece of meat in the grill, which was phenomenal. Men want to learn how to cook in a way that is nutritious and healthy. They're more open to listen to quinoa. Or also easy because they're just beginning. And I just want to also say that this cookbook is not just a cookbook, but also is a guidebook for newbies. Say you never step on food in the kitchen.
Right.
This book will give you every list you need for basic utensils you must own in your kitchen, from cutting boards, knives, what are the basics in your pantry, your refrigerator, your freezer, how to navigate the supermarket, how to create a shopping list, and how I did the recipes too. They go from gradually increasing in the complexity of the recipe. So you start with a fried egg, and then I went into Asian style fried rice with eggs. But, it's like how to boil pasta. I just didn't want to assume.
You even have a recipe in there on basic pasta. I love it.
But then after that, I have a more complex recipe on fusilli primavera pasta. Now you do a little sauté with chicken sausage and mix it with the pasta you know how to boil. So it has a step-by-step thing. So we gradually take you to more complex, but nothing is difficult.
Yeah.
And again, it's almost like I'm holding their hand in the kitchen.
Well, yeah, the first chapter is Welcome to Your Kitchen. And yeah, like you said, I was like, oh, there's some great tips on going to the grocery store, because let's face it, you can't do much in the kitchen if you haven't had a productive experience at the grocery store. And I love speaking to the basics. I mean, one of your sections is fire, blades, and germs, which I thought was hilarious. Like, okay, we get it. These are some of so you even address food safety.
Oh, yeah.
And kitchen safety, which, sometimes we forget. People don't know these things.
No, exactly.
I completely agree. I didn't notice that the recipes went from basic to more difficult in each. I shouldn't say difficult, but more, more involved in each chapter. I did not notice that.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, of the, let's see, like I said, 15 or 20 recipes that I wrote down, and I looked at not just the ingredients, but the preparation steps. And I swear they all seem so simple. and doable. And I'm not a culinary dietitian. So I was like, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. So I'm really excited to try some of these. I haven't tried any of them yet, but I just want to ask you which one of your favorite recipes are. But I want to say some of the ones that really stuck out at me.
Yeah.
Ginger cilantro chicken soup. You had me at cilantro.
Yeah.
Zucchini cheese lasagna.
My favorite one. This is a good one.
Sheet pan lemon salmon.
Oh, yes.
Let's see. Roasted pork with cilantro sauce. Again, the cilantro. And, of course, the sea salt caramel fudge brownies. So, and you have little nutrition tips and little culinary
chef tips.
Chef tips. Yes. So let's talk about, you have the different chapters are breakfast, lunch, dinner mains, and basic sides, which those are 2 separate chapters. I love that because that's how I kind of think.
Yes.
What's the main? And what do I serve this with? And you address that question. And also you've got smart salads and dressings. You have this mustard and lime vinaigrette that looks so easy. I'm going to try that for sure. And desserts and hearty snacks.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit more about the recipes. And like I said, maybe some of your favorites. And what are some of the questions and thoughts that you had, besides even just not even knowing what to do in a kitchen, that you thought of with regard to men?
I wanted to make it very simple and also budget
conscious.
Budget conscious, thank you. Yes. I want this book to be impossible for people when they get it to get some ingredients. So I try to make it very basic. I use your main supermarkets to go shopping.
Mm-hmm.
I shop.
I love that.
I don't want to give name of supermarkets, but like I want to mention.
Don't need to go somewhere special.
No need to go somewhere. No need to go to your butcher or no need to go. No, this you can go to any supermarket and find these ingredients. Number one.
All in one place if you want to.
Then I thought I was looking at, say, if you buy chicken, what kind of packages they sell. So the recipes were made knowing that because I hate throwing food away. So I don't like waste. So I was thinking, if you cook this recipe, this is how much chicken you buy because it comes on a 3-pound package or a whole chicken. If you buy broccoli, this is how much. So I was very careful on not wasting. Also, as an ambassador for the Produce for Better Health Foundation, and as a registered dietitian, we know we need to eat more plants. So a lot of my recipes are full of plants, and also using frozen, some canned foods, and all different dry fruits. So I try to incorporate as much as I can different sources of plants. Plant-based. This is obvious. For some people, they look at the beef and they think this is not a plant-based book. But my definition of plant-based is you eat a lot of plants with some protein.
Right. Well, I noticed, and you can speak more directly to this because I just happened to notice, but after the title of the recipe, of course, you have like the prep time and the cook time. And then you have like the category, and I saw a lot of vegetarian ones.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you specifically had a vegan category.
I don't know if I had a vegan category, but there's some vegan options there too. Or if you're a vegan, you know what to cut and replace. So, but it definitely has a lot of fruits and vegetables in all forms, frozen, fresh, and dry. Also definitely has whole grains as well. But what makes it for men, because people say, what makes it for men? Protein only, meat only? No, actually, one thing that makes it for men is the serving size. So I was careful. I've done 4 books before, and I've done weight loss books before. So, instead of a half a cup to a cup, this is a guy. If you give me a half a cup of rice, I'm gonna kill you.
You throw it at me, right? Not even gonna eat it. Just
so at least a cup, right? So I'm thinking, guys, I'm not gonna give them half a cup of quinoa. They're gonna eat a cup to a cup and a half, and definitely a good piece of meat, 5 ounces, 6 ounces, probably in a plate. Not the deck of cards that normally we recommend for ladies. So I help men in my private practice to lose weight. And when they come with this, oh yeah, my wife served me this dish. And it was pretty much green leafies with a 3 ounce of piece of meat. And he wants to go and eat a hamburger.
Right.
I mean, of course, I'll be eating my fingers if you give me lettuce and 3 ounces of chicken.
Mm-hmm.
So I make sure that if it's a salad, you'll see the salads are balanced. I am adding grains, a good amount of veggies,
Fiber, protein.
6 ounces of meat. So these salads are really well balanced. Now we call it a salad for men.
Mm-hmm.
So, or like when I'm doing a soup or stew, or, I have sandwiches, I'm making sure the portion sizes are enough for men to be happy. Once they eat it,
Satiated.
okay, I'm satisfied. Exactly. So that's what makes it for men. It's not so much that it's meat based.
Right.
Like
I said, I saw a lot of vegetarian.
Exactly. And teaching people new things. I mean, also the spices. I try to keep it very simple. To salt, pepper, cinnamon as well. Now, if you have cinnamon, I worked with this guy once, and I was telling him, "Oh yeah, well, cinnamon," and he looked at me. "You think I have cinnamon in my car?"
Is that a girl spice? I don't know.
Like,
so speaking of spices, tell us the story. I love this. You shared this in the book, the story about your client and cooking black beans and what you told him to add to it.
Oh my God, this is funny. Yeah, so this guy, we're talking about black beans, and actually I brought my black beans. So we started talking about black beans, and he's from Brazil, and he's like, I mean, I'm doing exactly everything my mom told me how she makes it, and I'm like, I mean, adding cumin, bell peppers, and I said, are you adding MSG? And he's like, what?
MSG.
So MSG, monosodium glutamate, of course, people are afraid of, and now we know there's nothing wrong with adding MSG as another ingredient. To me, MSG is just another ingredient, like salt, pepper, cumin, just to enhance your fifth receptor.
The umami.
The umami flavor, exactly, the umami receptor. So came back the next day, and he's like, oh my God.
He did it.
That was the missing ingredient.
Yeah. Well, because you grew up using MSG. I remember you and we both attended the World Umami Forum in New York City. And I remember you sharing this story with the group because we had a roundtable discussion.
That's right.
About how, you kind of grew up with this and you're so excited as a culinary dietitian to see this sort of being reintroduced into the kitchen.
For sure. And I use it on some of my recipes, and put it everywhere. But some of the recipes do enhances, soups, stews are a must. Eggs are delicious with that.
But I just made my eggs with MSG this morning.
Exactly. So, things like that. And also adding other ingredients like oregano and just basic stuff that people can find.
I saw, ginger, cilantro, the lime, just really bringing the flavor out in the different dishes. The recipes look totally foolproof, like I said. And I just have to say that the images are gorgeous with the dark black background. It's so masculine and it's so refreshing because a lot of stuff we see on Instagram is everything's white and shiny. And I have seen a few, actually another male dietitian uses sort of a dark background, and some of the egg nutrition center too.
This time around, I did not take pictures for the book.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of work.
I did take pictures. My other books, the publishing house did this work, and Thomas Story is the photographer. So I'm giving credit to him. He's done an amazing job.
It's phenomenal.
And I have a story about the cover, actually, the sandwich you see there. I had nothing to say or do with the cover, what goes on the cover. They just showed me the cover of the book, and I was like so touched because one of the sandwiches that I have, a recipe sandwich, was an inspiration from a Peruvian recipe. Lomo saltado, which is stir-fried beef. And now I did not do the lomo saltado exactly because, I was thinking this is going to be a little bit too complicated, thinking about basics, right? So I just did the similar idea, but it was definitely an inspiration of lomo saltado. I added bell peppers, onions, salt and pepper. Really easy. Sirloin steak in strips. And when they showed me the cover and it had a Peruvian recipe inspired there, I was like, oh my God.
Hit a home run.
I know. I was like, Wow, I didn't even tell them to choose that. That was just like it, right? I'm like, okay, this book is my love now.
All the images are gorgeous and really mouthwatering.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the desserts, you have the sliced pineapple with the coconut on
The
top.
key lime pie thing that I did there, the not bake key lime.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So you even have Instant Pot recipes in there, which I've been looking for. I'm still figuring out my newish Instant Pot and like trying to find the right recipes that it's going to kind of be my go-to. So I'm going to try some of those. I know it's probably too hard to say, but what are some of your favorite recipes in the book?
Oof. Okay, so that's difficult because I don't want to say I like them all so much, but so,
Well, and how many recipes are in the book?
85.
85. Oh, that's right. That's in the title.
Okay, if I were to pick a few of them, it's a way we eat pasta in Peru. It's a spaghetti with spinach, milk, spinach, and queso fresco. So good. I also like the chicken meatball brown rice soup.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorites too. Oh, the skewers. You marinate chicken on yogurt,
Mm-hmm.
and then you grill these with red onions. Has a Mediterranean. So this book actually also covers a little bit of all different types of cuisines, from Mediterranean style recipes, Peruvian touches here and
Mm-hmm.
there, Latino touches here and there, Asian style recipes. Oh, another one that I love is the Latinx steak ball.
Yeah, I wrote that one down.
Very good.
That looks really good.
Very good. For dessert, I like the roasted coconut pineapple. Wow.
Yeah.
That was a hit.
Okay. I told my daughter about that one because she loves pineapple and coconut.
Served that on a dinner table once. Everybody was devouring those. And it's like so healthy, so nutritious.
And simple.
Has a little sugar on top with coconut and just sliced pineapples and roasted. That's it. And you have an amazing dessert right there. And then yes, this is another one that I really, really love is the Moroccan style farro. Yeah, and then the fusilli. I can continue on and on.
You're making me hungry. Like I said, I was just my mouth was watering when I was going through the book and writing. Okay, I got to try this. Got to try this. I feel like it's something that is filling a void.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a cookbook aficionado by any stretch, but I haven't seen anything like this, and I just think this will be really helping so many people.
Yes.
What else about, it was really interesting you're saying about like the portion sizes and the satiation aspect, the satiety, and also, just like the basics about getting in the kitchen. Like you have hearty snacks, which speaks to...
Yeah, exactly. I just was trying to avoid, like you said, it's not just about steak on the grill or baked potato. No, I definitely have... There's pasta dishes, sandwiches, we have soups. Yeah, we have all array of different recipes in here so that men get into the kitchen more at whatever level you are. If you're a newbie,
there's recipes for you.
The recipes for you plus the guidebook.
Mm-hmm.
If you already cook, there's going to be new recipes for you that you're going to love. And even though the title is for men, anybody can use this book.
Yeah, well, I think I love it already, so I haven't tried it. I'm not a man.
I mean, it's a family-based book. I mean, anybody in your family can eat these recipes.
I'll show it to my husband, but I'm going to use it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there really is a variety in the book, just a variety of flavors. I think it will, even for myself, help people try new, like farro or a new not a condiment, but a new ingredient.
Yes.
And I think it speaks to, a lot of different people, and I think it'll help provide more versatility and more variety in their diets.
Yes. And, what I recommend too for men is if they want to start cooking a meal prep for the week, is to pick a couple of recipes for breakfast. I mean, I find this to work best. Simplify things. Pick a couple breakfasts, a couple dinners, a couple lunch ideas, and go buy the ingredients for that. And I mentioned this in the book. And then now you create your shopping list based on the recipes that you picked. Create a shopping list. Don't choose 10, two
Right.
at a time.
Yes.
Make this list. And then most of the recipes says serve 4. If you are a single guy, you can make these for the week.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a significant other, a wife or a husband, whatever you have, then you can double the recipe and you have now meals for 2 or for 3 or for 4. But again, it's always trying to pick a couple of recipes for the week because it can be overwhelming if you look, what I'm going to cook this week. So there's going to be a time in the week that you need to meal plan. Think about it, sit down with the book, pick what you want to make, and then pick another day where you do the shopping, the making, and now you can just pretty much eat throughout the week. That's if you like to do a little meal planning that way.
Yeah, I love that. And I noticed, I'm remembering something that you mentioned in the book about when you pick a couple of recipes and you look at the ingredients. Well, one recipe might call for red onions and another one might too. So you want to look at the amount.
Yes.
That's the basic step-by-step stuff that newbies need. And even people who are familiar in the kitchen, it's almost automatic to them. Oh yeah, how much of this? Because how many times do we go to the grocery store and say, oh, I know that one recipe needs yogurt. Was it half a cup? Was it 2 cups?
Yeah.
That's going to affect what you purchase.
Yes.
So you call that out in the book, which is really helpful. I did
call that out in the book. And like I said to you, I was very mindful about when I bought the chicken for the recipe that I will make the entire package because I didn't want to use half a packet. What are they going to do with the other half?
Right. Unless they double it. But
at the same time, I was like thinking, if I call you for broccoli, this is how much broccoli you buy for this week if you decide to do this broccoli dish. Yes. Or frozen.
You thought it through to kind of, you put yourself in their shoes, because one of the recipes calls for a whole chicken and the first step is to cut it up. But you say, if you're not comfortable cutting up a whole chicken, ask your butcher to do it. And it's something that's like, oh, I can still do this recipe. Even myself, I mean, I haven't cut up a whole chicken since I was in graduate school and teaching my food science class. But, some people might say, oh, well, I can't do this recipe because I don't know how to do that. But then you say, oh, just ask your butcher to do it. And it's like, oh, I can do that.
And this is the butcher, a supermarket, not a special butcher shop.
Right. Exactly. Thank you for pointing that out, because a lot of people, don't even realize that that's still a resource.
I have, and many times at my supermarket, at the regular supermarket, have gone and told the butcher, I want you to make me a special package that gives me 5 pounds of meat, please, because I'm going to need 5 pounds. And they do it. So people just need to learn to ask.
Right. They don't realize sometimes that you can do that. Every time I make my sister-in-law's Italian beef, I ask the butcher, okay, I'm making a crock pot Italian beef. I don't want it too lean. I don't want it too fatty. What do you recommend?
Exactly.
I have them help me every single time. You know, and every time I think, well, I'm just going to write down what they said, but I still rather talk to the guy and see what they have, and then they help me find the right cut.
Exactly.
I know that you're also working on a new project that sounds very exciting. Can you tell us about your new endeavor?
Finally found a new calling. It's been a gradual thing. It started with Facebook Lives, and then little by little start learning that, oh my God, I'm loving doing this.
You're great on video. You're great on camera, Manuel.
Thank you. Then again, this has happened gradually, didn't happen overnight. Trying something new, learning new technology, softwares and cameras. And so pretty much my kitchen has become my studio now. So a few weeks ago, I launched a show. It's called Manuel's Caliente Kitchen Show. So with this show, what I'm trying to do is I bring guests into the show, not all the time, but most of the time, and just people that want to cook with me. And it's always making a recipe or talking about nutrition, but fun. It's not lectures. It's not, I'm going to teach about fiber. I'm going to cook and then talk to you about fiber, but really making things easy for people and fun. I really like that. It's not so structured and not so like
Stiff
I'm
and
going to
serious.
be your nutritionist now, you know.
Yeah. You're a fun guy.
I'm going to be your caliente guy.
Yes, that's you. You definitely, I mean, you can do the straight, stiff,
I can do that.
But you love to laugh. You are a people person. You have a lot of fun. You're a lot of fun. So this sounds like the perfect fit for you.
I have to tell you a story. Now that I have been doing this Caliente show, a client, no mention name, but client asked me to do a video. So then I did the video. And when someone asks me to do a video, they need to be clean and no errors. And I was smiling and all that. But then the client came back, you were not as fun as your live. Well, it's because it's not a live, it's a video. And it was more an educational video that I need to get done in 2 minutes. So my personality changed a bit. Now I'm more like a registered dietitian, but, you know, smiling and all that, but it wasn't like joking around. And because you have only 2 minutes to do this video. So
it's not much time.
So it's different, you know, it's different when I do an educational video for a client or I do my live. So she was expecting, I guess, the fun part. And I said, well, no worries, we'll do a live and then I can be fun.
There you go. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations on that. It sounds wonderful. I have to check it out. Well, thank you so much for sharing your new book with us. People can follow you on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Yes.
And your website is manuelvillacorta.com. I'll have all the links in my show notes at soundbitesrd.com.
Thank you.
And the book comes out
December 17th, but is now ready for pre-order.
Okay.
Yes. And if you pre-order now, you'll get it immediately when it gets released.
Oh, excellent. And we have one lucky person who will get a free copy. We have a giveaway.
Yes.
So I'll have all the details on my show notes at soundbitesrd.com.
Yes.
So people can see what all of the little steps. We don't make it too hard. It'll be fun and easy, and you'll definitely want to enter to win.
That's right.
So thank you for sharing that free copy.
Of course. My pleasure.
And of course, this is the perfect gift idea for that man in your life or that family in your life. So I highly encourage you. We got the holidays coming up. This is a great gift idea. It's the gift of food, the gift of health, the gift of cooking, and such a great gift. Manuel, thanks so much for being on the show again. It was great to have you on. Congratulations on your new book.
Thank you for having me.
And as always, enjoy your food with health in mind.
Let's get cooking.
Let's get in the kitchen, Manuel.
Just look.
Till next time.
For more information, visit soundbitesrd.com. Music by Dave Burke.